What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Living Blessed, the podcast. I'm your host, Joevan J. Palmer, and as always, we have amazing guests on the podcast sharing transparent and vulnerable moments. I got my guy, my brethren from another motherin'. As you can see, he's super excited.
Oh my gosh. Hold on. First off, let me give you all a backstory.
Please.
I've been waiting to get on this podcast for years, okay? Years. I know he ain't put that many episodes out in terms of years, but we've talked about this like in the future. That's how it happened.
Mark, man, introduce yourself, brother.
Okay, cool. So
know who you
I am Mark Byrd, Markwell Byrd, but everybody calls me Mark. You already know what it is. Mixed by Mark on Instagram. And I am the #1 youth production mentor in the country. Saw service, businesses, nonprofits, as well as different schools. So that's what my focus,
right,
the
man.
youth. Yeah.
Let's get into it, man.
All right.
We talk about a lot of stuff on this podcast.
Yes.
And
So I've heard.
So you've heard. But yeah. So Mark Byrd, who is he?
So Mark Byrd is a guy that's born and raised from Virginia, right? I grew up there, and I moved to New York City as a 18-year-old trying to achieve, Dr. Dre status.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yo, I'm gonna be a producer. I'm gonna make it like Dr. Dre, Kanye. It didn't happen. It didn't.
Dang.
Yeah. But great things came out of that. You
Yeah.
know, I built over 7 studios within the city, of New York, like from Queens to the Bronx to Brooklyn. And again, working with nonprofits and schools. And from there, I recently moved to LA about 3-4 years ago, me and my family. So I have a beautiful wife and 3 children. And I am someone who is dedicated to the arts. Like, I love production. That's my thing.
So where did this desire and love for the arts come from? Was it something that as a child you were just into music, or you're into the arts, or was it just something that you just stumbled across? Or, because music, the way music happens for people is that they are looking for an outlet.
Oh yeah,
to get
for
somewhere,
sure.
To kind of like get somewhere and kind of escape from something, because that's what it does. Like, allows you to escape and just be somebody. I would say to be somebody else, but be the person that you've been yearning to be.
Yeah, 100%.
So what was it for you?
I would definitely say it was my grandfather. It started with him running around the car. He's working on cars, oil dripping, everything in the garage, and he would always play the Gap Band, so Oops Upside Your Head, that would play.
Yeah.
So he would like hit us in the back of our heads. We'd be running around the house, boom, Oops Upside Your Head, and it was like a whole thing. And my uncles and cousins, they played in go-go bands. We have a genre of music, DMV, called go-go, and they were all percussionists. And from there, I wanted to be one. I was like, yo, I'm gonna be the dopest congo player. I'm gonna be better than Smoke. I'm gonna be better than like the dopest congo players out there. And one day, Backyard was playing. When they were, and I looked up at the stage, it was like 15 brothers up there, and I'm like, yo, who is getting paid? So I didn't do it. I was like, nah, this is not my life. This is not for me. And this was middle school. This is in middle school. I became a DJ.
Really?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah. So DJ Quell was my name, because my name's Mark Quell. DJ Quell. I even had like little cards said DJ Quell on them, and crazy enough, I was getting booked all over the DMV. Like I was doing weddings, I was doing all the house parties, and at the time they were clubhouses. Like if a residential location had like a clubhouse, they would rent out the location, and then I would come in and I would set up turntables and more.
You still got it?
Yeah. Well, I have a lot of records. So literally I covered my entire wall with vinyls and everything like that. But I don't scratch like I used to. I don't throw the vinyl, because when I started, it was on Stanton Straight 20s, which is belt drive, actual like turntables. So I would have to throw the record forward. It's not dual drive. So in terms of me actually scratching, it was like an actual process. And I just fell in love with it. It was dope. And then Serato came out, and it wasn't the same. I wasn't carrying records to parties anymore. And because my home was so unstable, I had to let it go, unfortunately. But I knew I was going to do something in music or something in production. So that's when it was either the military, jail, or go to New York. And I chose New York.
So you said home was unstable.
Yeah.
What was home like for you?
So home was fun. It was great experience. I went to 4 different high schools. And the reason why is because, like, my mom would pick up and leave. My mom would pick up and leave. My mom would be like, all right, it's time for us to move. So I stayed with all my aunts. I stayed with my grandmother, you know, that whole vibe. And a lot of it still, I think it prepared me to be able to like, yo, pick up and go and also allow things to be and let go of them. But one of the issues was like, yo, I can't stay here for a year because I know it's not going to happen. Like something is going to throw a monkey wrench in it and we're going to have to move. So that always happened. Like throughout my life, I can't even tell you. I probably moved, I don't know. I don't want to exaggerate, probably like 25, 30 times throughout my life. Like I've moved so many times.
Why are you guys moving so much?
Well, I think finances.
Okay.
I also now when I look at it, not just finances, but like management. You know, like just being able to manage a dollar is a thing too. And I think my mom, she just never had that. Like in the best, like me and my mom have a great relationship, but everybody in the family knows that she's like terrible with money. Like she's just not good with it. But my mom is the first person you can call if you don't have money. I'm telling you, bro, she'll send it right now. She'll be like, yo, hold on, let me call somebody, let me figure it out. I'm gonna send you $5. Like you gonna get your $5. Like that's her.
Yeah.
And everybody in the family knows this, but she, in terms of her managing money, so because of that, it was always something. Be like, oh, you know what, we ain't paid this month, or not, the lights will be on, but like in terms of her being late or they didn't get their last month's rent and all that, maybe not. Maybe not.
So as you're experiencing this as a child, what is going through your mind? Because sometimes as kids, we don't really recognize that this is the phase we're going to until we get older and we look back on our childhood like, yo, like my child was a little jacked up. Like we moved 25 times, 35 times. You're like, yo, that's not normal.
Yeah. I'm saying throughout my life too, because even when I moved to New York, I moved so many times as well. But
so was that like a repeated pattern of what you've known as a child? Like, yo, I just can't stay here for like, you know, once 7 months, 8 months, 12 months hit, I gotta go.
Yeah, I think you know what it is. It's like growing up, you think things are normal when they're not.
Yeah.
When you're like, oh, this is the norm. Like we're supposed to pick up and leave again, and then also looking from the outside into someone's house, like even family members that may in your head think like, oh, they have it together. And then when you get there, you're like, oh, they ain't got it together either. They just living in this house though, you know? I just noticed the pattern of consistently inconsistent. And if it is consistent, it's for the wrong reasons. And that's why like me, and you can call my sister. Like she'll tell you like, yo, we always moved. Like we always lived in somebody's living room or somebody's kid's room, or like it was just always that. You know, like she even she would have to take me in the morning because one place that we lived was probably like 20 minutes away. Let's say it's like 20 minutes from school. She would have to take me every morning. So she would be late. She's in high school. She's supposed to be there before me. So she would be late to school to make sure that she dropped me off every morning. So it was like, even those sacrifices, because of things being just unstable and not consistent, we ended up suffering. You know what I mean? In just different areas, like my music in terms of DJing. How am I going to get to a location? You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get there. Or how am I going to make sure that now this new school that I'm in, that they know who I am and what I do? I have to start over again. I got to start over again.
That's the toughest thing to do.
Yeah, especially when you're a kid, because if the house isn't stable, then of course my grades are terrible.
Yeah.
You know, I'm bringing home Fs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm bringing them all in. And it was just like constant, like seeing that. And it was just like, all right, you know, let's see if he graduates. Like I didn't know until a week before graduation that I was actually graduating.
Wow.
So like people were coming up to me like, yo, I'm going to be at your graduation. And I'm thinking, I don't even know if I'm going to be there.
What are you feeling in this moment of not knowing or not being secure? Because like it seems as if that was the regular routine for life for you. You're just not sure of what's next.
I think that, hold on, say that one more time.
So the uncertainty of life, it just kind of seems like, you know, you just don't know what's next from between moving, different schools and stuff like that. It's just even just graduating high school.
Yeah.
How does that uncertainty play into your life today?
Well, a lot of it is more grounded
Mm-hmm.
because I'm more assured, I guess, in my path. Like when I left Virginia, it was for those same reasons. I was like, yo, I gotta leave. It's the only way that I'm going to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's nothing against my family, friends who stayed.
Yeah.
You know, but I think for me in my environment, it wasn't really helping me progress. You know what I mean? Like I felt like it was a cycle. And I felt like, especially during that time, that I was beginning to choose the wrong route. And the only thing that was going to keep me like from getting out of this, of course, was God and me just saying, you know what, I'm going to pack up and go to New York and just see what happens. And it ended up working out for me. It did.
Mm-hmm.
That was I guess my Kanye success story. Like I left and I'm still standing because of it. If not, I think that I would have I probably would have been in jail somewhere.
So what were some of the things that were leading you down the wrong path?
Well, when you're in certain environments, like you think that some of the things that may be okay or maybe right or wrong, like maybe right, but they're actually wrong. Like a lot of my cousins, that they all have priors and all those, that whole thing, and they have other, like a lot of them have like different kids, different baby mothers, and those just those things that I didn't believe in, and I felt like I would end up just giving in. Because I'm like, yo, this is what you see.
Yeah.
This is what you know. So why wouldn't you?
Right.
Why wouldn't you be, become victim of it?
Yeah.
And again, like I have to express, like it's nothing against anyone. Like everybody's gonna live their own life, and everybody has their own journey. But I felt like for mine and what God was doing in my life, I had to leave. Because even when I did leave, I didn't know that I was gonna understand or go through depression, things like that. And my first year or second year, between that time, I was like so adamant on committing suicide.
Really?
Yeah, I really was like, yo, I gotta get out of here. Because sometimes you think even with you leaving, you think that, oh, that's gonna fulfill you and that's it. Like, oh yeah, I made it out in a sense. But then you're like, Dad, like I'm still going through financial situations. I still don't have my friends. I still don't have the same thing, or that, like the same routine. And because you being uncomfortable, it just pushes you to certain levels of anxiety. And I wanted to just jump in front of the train, and just let it go.
What stopped you, or should I say, what saved you?
God, like for real. Like I know what people say, that
It
they say
sounds
it's kind of
cliche.
cliche.
Yeah. No.
But I was my aunt doesn't even know this. I was staying with my aunt on Gun Hill Road. What a terrible name. Right? So I'm staying with her, and I was extremely depressed, and I wrote the letter. I left it on the bed. I was like, they'll find it. Like I was like, yo, I'm done. So I wrote it in the journal, like, yo, these are things I was experiencing, these things I went through. Like, don't ever think that it was because of you, or because of like you guys didn't treat me right, all of those things. So I wrote it all out. So when I got on the train, like I'm about to go to school, because I was studying at Institute of Audio Research, because I was like, yo, I'm gonna be an audio engineer. So I'm on the platform, and I'm like, man, just go, just jump. Like
You're there.
Yeah, I'm on the platform. Like if you jump, all your pain will go away. So it was like, that devil's advocate type of thing. Like you got your angel on one side,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, or what they say, the dove and the crow, that whole vibe. I'm like, all right, this is it. And as I felt like I was going to like lift my foot to just, something whispered in my ear and said, yo, there's more for you. And I took a step back, and I was like, oh. And like it's weird, because sometimes I feel like I can feel the wind from the train as the train is entering, and then the doors open, and it was like another like parallel moment for me, because it's like, oh, I didn't do that, and now there's new doors opening for me. So then I stepped on the train, to see what my next stop will be.
You literally stepped on the train?
Yeah, after, like, I didn't step on the train platform, but like,
No, like
yeah,
into the actual like car, the car.
yeah, I stepped on because like it was either I step forward and die, or like I step back and then step again to something that's going to be new and bigger than me.
So something told you
There's more for me.
there's more for you. And did you fight that something, or you just knew like at that moment that's God?
I want to say I knew at that moment that was God, because I'm the only person, like my grandmother probably has, like, no exaggeration, like 45 grandchildren. I'm the only yeah, I know it's a lot of us. And I'm the only person that ever left.
The only one that left Virginia.
Yeah, nobody has left. Everybody stays there. Like, and it's all great things. Like, people got houses, they got families, they meet up for family reunion type things, all the cookouts and the 4th of Julys and all of those things. And I would visit all the time, like coming back and forth on the mega bus, the mega bus held me down.
Yeah, for sure.
That one in the go-to bus, Chinatown joint.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be on there heavy, going back and forth and stuff like that. And I just felt like, and I read the Bible, I read the Word every day. Like, I'm an advocate for the Bible. So even when I read, I understand that Jesus left. Like, how can you spread your wings, your message, your truth without, like, going to college, going, you know what I'm saying? I'm not getting into this whole school thing, but like just leaving the door, like leaving and going out and stepping out on faith and seeing what happens. I think there's like a lot that comes into play when it comes to that. I think that's a big thing. And God was like, look, man, there's more for you. So you have to, and I'm so thankful that I didn't do that, because I wouldn't be here, one. And another thing is, like, I have a beautiful wife and I have 3 children, and there was more for me. I just didn't see it in that moment. And we even see, like, at times, even in the Word, how, like, Jesus will go away. Like, he will step, like, Jesus went off into the mountains and him and Satan was going at it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you see that, and it's like, it doesn't mean that you're not going to experience battles, because Jesus experienced them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what do you do in those moments? Are you going to stand strong, 10 toes down, or are you going to fold?
Right.
And it doesn't mean that you can't have, like, a brother like yourself. Like, I've talked to you many times, and, like, for strength to help you get through these moments. But in that moment, I didn't have anyone. And God was like, I need to speak to him, because if not, he's going to do something, and it may change the course of many people's lives.
Mm.
And in that moment, I really believe, like, that was all God. Because God was like, oh, no, I can't have that.
Yeah. So what did you do? So in a sense, you could say you were suicidal.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do afterwards to help you with, the suicidal thoughts that you've had and the depression?
Well, because again, that it doesn't take it away in that moment. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that moment it did, but it doesn't take away from, like, what I may be experiencing. Even later that day, I probably was like, maybe I should have did it.
Yeah.
I'm unsure if I was still battling it throughout that same day, but I just knew that. Yeah, I knew that if I stayed strong, if I, like, really, Brandon says this one. Brandon shot me, right? Really, really good guy, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
He said, and it changed everything for me. He said, how many times are you going to ask God for strength? How much strength do you need? That's what he asked. And I was like, man. And for me, again, this is later on. This is years later that I thought about that when he had talked to me. But I just was like, I have to believe what God is saying to me, that there's more for me. And I just stayed true to that. That's what helped me. I'm telling you, through depression, through being suicidal, everything, I was like, I have to believe, I have to stand on this, because I've already gotten this far, and everybody is amazed at, which is, you know, you go through those situations where you be like, dang, somebody's actually amazed at what I've done, and I'm depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Or like you'll get a random text message and you'll be like, dang, like I needed this text. Or you like, I'm glad that you called me. I was going through something. You're like, dang, like God sends messages in many ways.
Absolutely.
In many ways. And in that one, because I heard God's voice, I didn't want to backpedal against that. Because I'm like, what if God doesn't? Because then I thought about, what if God says, I'm not going to speak to him this time because I already told him. So I just had to stand on that. I was like, no, I have to stand firm on that. And I know that is hard for many people.
It's just a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow.
Yeah. And you know, I haven't had those like in terms of as strong, but I've thoughts. Everybody has random crazy thoughts. But I think that was the strongest ever in my life. I was like, oh, this is it. I'm done. Because I had already written out the letter. I already knew what I was going to do. And I saw it. Like, that was it.
Did anyone actually see the letter?
No, they didn't see it. Because I came home.
What was inside the letter?
It was just explaining that, you know, I didn't want anybody to feel that it was their fault. Because a lot of times when someone commits suicide, people hold this thing like, what could have I done? Mm-hmm. You know, and it's like, you know, and to some degree, it's also selfish. It's not you. It's about them and what they're experiencing. And I didn't want my mother, I didn't want anyone to, like, think about that. And I also knew to some degree that, like, I was really going to do it because I didn't tell anybody. Nobody knew that I was going through that. They was just going to get a letter and be like, yo, he was going through things. And it's not my fault.
So had you not heard from God,
I would not be here.
So was it like no second guessing?
No. In those moments, I think that, like, you know how people be like, no gas, no brakes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
All gas, no brakes. No gas, no brakes. Like, hilarious. All gas, no brakes, right?
Yeah.
There was no second guessing because it's the same with New York. I didn't want to second guess it because I'm like, yo, there's something else. And then if God is saying, oh, well, bro, I have this for you. There's more for you. Mm-hmm. I got to just stand on that. You know, I listen to Myron Golden a lot because of Dave, this guy. And he was like talking about how, like, if you believe, right? If you believe and you see the things that God has done in your life already, you should already see that it is destined for you to win. So
say it again.
Okay. So if you believe in what God's word and the things that you've already experienced throughout your life and you've overcome them, you should then see that this is destined for you to win. Mm-hmm. It is already set up for you to win. But yeah, you play the game, but you know I'm gonna win.
For sure.
I'm gonna win. There's there's no other way to say it. Like I am gonna win. And I think my mindset at that time was just so limited because of like of just being inconsistent with so many things.
Yeah.
And seeing like some of the trauma and some of the things that like outside of like some things I'm probably not going to necessarily go into, but like some of the things that I believe now when you go back and you look and like that was trauma. And now I've overcome them and there's still so much for me to still overcome.
It's like a never-ending journey.
Yes.
Because you feel like you get over one hump.
Yeah.
And then like when you spoke to trauma, like trauma isn't just one thing. It's a series of things that's just built up over days, months,
and years.
And you say, okay, this is the one thing I need to focus on. This is it. And you're like, all right, I beat it. Thanks, God. Praise be to God. we did it.
Praise be.
Right, we did it. And then as soon as you get over that thing, it's like the next one come knocking at your door.
Yes.
And you're like, dang. Like, what's up?
What is up?
Like, what's going on? But then you realize the strength that you had to beat the first one. And it kind of goes back to, the Ty Tribbett song. If God did it before, he can do it again. And if God gave you the strength to fight the first one,
yes,
that first one built you up for the second one. The second one builds you up for the third one. The third one builds you up for the fourth one.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like sometimes we just don't pay attention to the strength building. We pay attention to the trauma. It's like,
that's true.
This is what I'm going through again. Woe was me. Like, I'm going through something again. It's like, yo, focus on the strength building. And the strength building is what will pretty much propel you to fight any battle.
Yeah, and when I think now, like where I'm at, of if I didn't go through these things, right? I don't know what, like, because we see it all the time, millionaires, we see all these people that we sometimes we perceive it as a great life, and then out of nowhere they commit suicide, right? Yeah. And I think now what I may be going, like when I look back, imagine if I didn't go through that, and then I turned around and was faced with that, with children, and then I made that decision. Yeah. Then, man, that is not cool.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't want to say it's not cool, because suicide is suicide.
Yes.
And we can't dig into the brain of Mark. We can't dig into the brain of anyone else and say what they were feeling or what the pain was.
That's true. That is true.
It's like a lot of people feel like, oh, suicide, because once upon a time I used to think, suicide is a selfish mission.
Really?
I used to really think that suicide is a selfish mission because of just my limiting beliefs of what people go through. I'm like, life just can't be that bad. That was my thoughts. And then as I grew older and became more of a professional in the mental health space, I'm realizing, it's people's way out of the pain. Like, you got people who there's voices in their heads every day that they can't fight. There's demons they're fighting. They just don't know how to fight them because, so much built up trauma inside of them that they either haven't gotten the help they've needed, or they feel like they're just selfless or they're worthless and stuff like that. So it's just, suicide is a heavy mission. Yeah. It's a very heavy mission that we really don't look at the person first. We look at, is it suicide? Life can't be that hard.
Man, but it was at that time. My belief that it was, like, when I look back, I'm like, dag, like, you would never do something like that now. But at that time, it was really the only way that I felt like I could overcome. Yeah. Yeah, man. It was deep. It was deep. But, since then, your boy, you know what I'm saying? Came a long way from there, man. Yeah. Long way. And I moved from Gun Hill, had to get away from that spot, My aunt left too. She was like, man, I got to get out of here. Like, this place is like off the chain. So I moved to Harlem, then I moved to Bronx, and I moved another part of the Bronx, and moved back to Harlem. And, I'm helping my wife move and all this other stuff. It was just like a lot. Then moved again in Harlem. And so, like, even in New York, I moved a lot.
So when did you find your stability?
Still finding it. No, I'm just joking. That's it. That was perfect timing. No, I think that when me and my wife got together, it was more stability. It was because she's more practical than me. I'm like a guy that's always operating ideas and always operating in future. And she's like, well, right now, you know what I'm saying, we need to get a crib for this baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, those type of things. And even before that, she really helped me a lot, I would have to say. We've been married for 6 years now. Wow. It's crazy.
Congratulations.
Oh, man. 3 kids and everything. Ooh. Yeah, pandemic gave me 2. Like, it's crazy.
You have to get pandemic to another level.
Yeah, I mean, you just in the crib. You got to find something to do. Right? But no, well, for sure, she helped me a lot. She helped me also know, like, that it's okay to have structure. Like, and some people may look at that like, yeah, like, come on now. Of course you would want structure. But thing is, if you don't know that, you don't understand it.
Because you're used to operating chaos.
Exactly. So constantly, I don't have no agendas on my board or nothing in my calendar. I'm just operating, like as the day go by. And she really helped me with stability and also understanding structure throughout my life, because again, I'm just operating on the go, and then also seeing what you can do when you have someone that believes in you. And then you can also talk to them about like your feelings and not feel judged because of them. You know what I mean? And me being with her was the first time that someone said, maybe you should go to therapy. And in my mind, I'm like, therapy at first, like, yo, that's for them crazy people, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, just mad ignorant, not understanding that it's for me to succeed. And we went to couples therapy first, and then I went to individual therapy to work on myself. And I was like, man, this is like really helpful, because it's not just me telling my wife what I'm going through. I'm telling this person, and they are like giving me the right teachings and understandings of like how to maybe get through them. Of like, this is, hey, why don't you try this exercise? And I'm like, why am I trying this exercise? And then it ends up being applying to what I'm going through, which ends up, paralleling me or helping me get to another level. So it was like, yeah, that was really helpful.
So entering into this relationship with your girlfriend at the time, did you have any challenges? Because like she's trying to bring you stability, and then but you're used to operating in chaos. Like, was there some times where she's like, yo, Mark, we really gotta figure this thing out, and you were like, no, this is like, I'm used to it. This is life. I'm good.
Well, I don't know if it's because I'm just a Libra. I don't know if it's just a Libra thing, but she's also a Libra. But I think that I'm very open-minded, because you may tell me something and I'm like, nah, I'm good. But in the back of my mind, I'm questioning it. I may say that, but I am questioning it because I'm like, yo, maybe this will help me get better. Maybe this will help me get to the next level in my life.
Absolutely.
So we've never really had like issues with that. If anything, again, it would be like little stuff, stuff around the house. Mark, got to get better with that, stuff like that. But it hasn't been that, like, because everything, we've never had an argument. It's weird. Yeah, like we've had like disagreements, in discussions, like, look, like this is what we is, but me yelling because I saw that growing up, I don't do that. I'm like, nah, like it's not healthy. It doesn't help anyone. So I made sure of that. And there are things that I learned early on of my impulsiveness was one of the biggest things, which I didn't know that was a thing. I was at the very beginning of our marriage, or even like our relationship, because we weren't together that long. Like we were together 4 months and I got engaged. Yeah. I was like, yo, within 2 months I had my ring. I had the ring.
2 months into it, how'd you know she was it?
Man, it sounds so cliche, man, but I'll be like, yo, it's God. Like I've always wanted a family. I'm like, yo, I always wanted a family. I believed in that. I stand on that. Like, oh, you have a nice family. Yeah. And with her, when I met her, I was like, man, this girl's kind of cool. We celebrated our birthday together. We had the same birthday. So we celebrated our birthday together, and then this is in September, and then November comes. Sure enough, we get together November 20th, January like 10th. The middle of January, I had the ring. Already in January. March 20th, I proposed. Like March 16th, I asked for her hand in marriage. I asked her dad. I'm very traditional, so I'm like, I'm gonna ask. He said, yes, after she graduates college, you can marry her. But he never said I couldn't be engaged to her. So she flew in, boom, that was it. All she wrote. Come on, girl, put a ring on it. It's over. It is over. So March 20th, so November 20th we got together. March 20th she was engaged.
Wow.
Yeah. And I know it sounds cliche, it was God, like, but that's really how I felt. And this is the person who I want to spend the rest of my life with. I'm not a bachelor type of guy. And I don't like secrets either. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm very open with my whole life. So if, me trying to like be a player like that, this is not me. It's not in me. Yeah.
Wow. So you're into marriage now.
Oh yeah, we married for sure.
3 kids.
Oh yeah, man.
How is it now?
It's good. It's good. My kids are young, so it's a lot going on in the house.
No, for sure. Every time I call you back, Mark. Call me later.
Yes, every time. That's exactly how it is. But the cool thing too about it is like we have a great relationship. Like all my kids, we be in the house playing. We do everything. And then it sucks when I'm like I go away. Like right now we're in Miami, right? We're in Miami. But one of the issues too is that even we left from Miami, I come to Miami, like now I have to think about, oh man, are they taking their showers? Like it throws things off when one of us isn't present.
Got you.
Yeah.
So because you have to travel a lot.
Yeah,
you have to travel a lot, and with you traveling a lot and not being home, how is it for the wife?
It's a lot, but I'm thankful that I think that's another reason why we left New York, because we didn't have the support system. So when we first had our child, she was like, she was young, but getting on and off the train with a stroller, if I'm out at work, like that's a whole thing. So I was like, oh heck no, we ain't doing that. So we ended up moving to LA because her parents were like, yo, we'll definitely help out, and they do. Like my sister-in-law especially, she helps out a lot. So, man, and then we have a great, amazing daycare provider for our kids. So it's just a great system now. Yeah, it's a great system.
That's dope, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure, man. That's me in a nutshell.
Oh, absolutely, man. You're an interesting character.
Oh, yeah,
very
all the way.
Interesting character. So we're going to do a quick commercial real quick.
Okay,
man.
go ahead.
I want you to close out with something powerful, man. Just some words of hope. And we'll go for there. I know you got something.
Oh, I got something lit. Well, let me think about it while I'm gonna think about it while you
think about
the
commercial. Let's go, everybody. So this episode is sponsored by the Embolden Institute. Is the only space that I know that sends out daily messages of hope and affirmation. So if you want to get on my text line, text me 404-476-6780. That's 404-476-6780. We text you 365 days out of the year, 7 days a week, 10 a.m. Well, sometimes. Mark, if it's not at 10, Mark.
7 a.m. PST.
7 a.m. PST. Mark definitely texted me like, yo, what's up? Hey, man. Players mess up too.
Yeah, for sure. I texted him. It was like, I got at 7:01 today. What's up? He's like, what? Like a minute late? Like what?
No, but
hilarious.
It's dope. Just listen, text me, get on the text line. We're just doing this, man, just out of, it doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
Just your time. Texting 10 digits, that's it. So text me 404-476-6780. Mark, close this out, bro.
All right, you can find me at Mixed by Mark. You can also see my company, The Variety Group, working at most of the greatest schools in LA. Providing youth mentorship through production. But this is so cliche. What I'm about to say, I'm like, yo, I should have came with something.
You're just a cliche
bigger.
dude.
Yeah, right. I'm like, this is so cliche. You can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. Period. Like there's no other way to say it. Like Christ gives me strength. I believe in it. And you can really do all things. Like, don't think, like, not just the aspect of, like, the word, but really, like, you yourself having the ability, the mentality, you can truly do it. Like, don't ever think that you're limited. And if you do feel like that you're limited, it's because of your belief is. You can truly prevail.
There you go. Gets no better than that. We are out.
Peace. Live
from Miami.
Live from Miami. Word.